Alright guys, what's up? Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL draft. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that bell, select all, leave a comment down below if you feel like doing so, and don't forget to check out the Facebook group page. Keep pounding in all caps for in-game posts, polls, opinions, and reactions to NFL news, such as scheduling for the channel and for the Yahoo Sports app. Keep pounding Fantasy Football League. If you want to get your hands on the intro that you see during most of my streams, go check out Lindara Ty on Instagram using her last name Ty, T-A-I Lindara, Lindara, for videos, panels, etc. Fair pricing, awesome to work with, and just in general, amazing business person to work with. I just love her to death. So let's talk about this draft, huh? How y'all feeling about this one? Because I feel like we filled a lot of our needs today, and I'm very, very pleased with it. I think that, first of all, that move for McMillan, and just so y'all know, I will not be able to read chat. That's in the description while I'm driving. But we'll have a full-on stream about that tonight. And I'm bringing my boy David in for that from my team chat. You heard him as part of our previous streams. But yeah, I'm excited because I think this is going to be a very, very interesting year. I'm looking at all the pieces that we drafted. I'm looking at all the pieces that we already have. And I'm starting to put all this stuff together. You know what I mean? And I think we got something, guys. I think we do. You know, we've really got enough firepower to possibly make a division run. I'm not saying playoffs, but I'm saying division run. You know, if we make the playoffs, that's a bonus. You know, it depends on the schedule release. It depends on how good these players are once we take a look at them in training camp and whatnot. But I like what I see. I got to look at the undrafteds as well, and I'm very pleased with that. That we signed. I'm really happy with the Hunter Renfrow signing. That's our first Clemson wide receiver from the Dabo Swinney era, and I'm elated to have him in our wide receiver room. I know he probably won't last long there, so I'll probably have to get his jersey, but, you know, I really like what I see in this wide receiver room. We put a lot of work into putting this roster together, and we haven't made any wrong moves yet. I do think that when we got Jimmy Horn Jr., I believe he had a prior injury, and that's what made me kind of question that pick a little bit. I do want to kind of address that one injury-wise, because, you know, we went for Brooks last year, and that did not go well. And I did warn you guys, don't go for the man. You know, it's a trap. And that was before we knew about the ACL tear. None of my team knew about the ACL tear. I want to warn you about that before anybody says anything else. You know, we had no idea. None of my team had any idea he had that ACL tear before we drafted him. So I want that on record. All right. Secondly, we had, if you take the ACL tear history out of it, you know, that means you had two really, really good running backs sitting there in the second round, you know, that we could trade up for, which is great. You know, I'm happy for that, you know. Value-wise, as far as what he could bring to the table, I'm very pleased with it. But as far as, you know, the things that come with the ACL tear history, that's some scary business. So, I mean, with that logic in mind, we had to go and get another running back, even though we signed Rico, because it was just dangerous not to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the idea of putting ourselves in a position where we have to do that again. You know? So, we goofed. We tried to fix it by getting Trevor Etienne. I think we did successfully fix the problem. Now, here's the thing. Now we've got a ton of wide receivers to choose from. We got one too many running backs, so somebody's got to go. You've got Blackshear doing return game. You've got Jimmy Horn Jr. doing return game. And I would test the waters and see if Blackshear could do both return game. You know, kick and punt. I would test the waters. You know, I'm not sure how good he would be at the latter. You know, that he's not been positioned for, which I believe is kick returns. But if you give him a chance, I think he may do pretty well. He doesn't push the pile. See, that's the thing for me. It's like, you get through it. You know, he's not going to have as much success. Things that comes to mind there. But thus far, I mean, I like what I'm seeing, and I think that there is something there. You know what I'm saying? I legit think there is something there.
Turn left.
Okay. I'm back. I gotta go back through my neighborhood.
In 500 feet, turn right onto Cherry Hill Road.
Oh, now you want me to go up there? Okay.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto Middle Road.
It takes me in like 50 different directions.
Turn left onto Miller Road.
But yeah. Yeah.
Take the second left onto Miller Road.
I'm happy with what we got. I think there's a lot of talent there. I'm very happy with
For half a mile.
with the Nick Skirton pick. I think that was an excellent pick. And doubling down on defensive end was a good thing.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Smith
I
Hines
feel
Road.
like that hindered us from being able to get a linebacker, like a bona fide linebacker, when they were making a run on him in the fifth. didn't get a bona fide corner either. We didn't get a bona fide corner either, which frustrated me, man, because
Continue on Smith Hines Road for 1.5 miles.
somebody got him, and I was looking at Noah Williams, and somebody grabbed him too. I think the Cowboys grabbed Noah Williams, which pissed me off because, you know, I'm not a fan of the Cowboys at all, but, you know, I'm like, all right, you know, that's not getting a corner, you know, at that point. No, that's on to figure what's our alternative. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you figure out an alternative, okay, great. Can the man tackle? That's answer number one. Can the man pass block in man and zone coverage? Because that's what we mainly use, is man and zone coverage in Evero's defense. And Evero's been known to switch things up so much, man, with player situations and roles, then I'm not even sure what we're even doing half the time. You know, so I'm just like, okay, roll with the punches, you know what I mean? Just roll with the punches. You know, maybe Evero knows what he's doing, maybe he doesn't. We're going to get a bunch of people that we don't know if we can rely on them or not. You know, that's going to end up costing Evero his job. But we didn't. We got people that we know we can rely on. That's good quality talent, you know, on defense. So now we're saying, okay, Evero, sink or swim time. You know what I'm saying? Sink or swim time. You either succeed or you don't this year. And I'm going to ask y'all this in the live stream later on tonight. You know, when I get set up to stream, I'm going to ask y'all that. What would you define as success for Evero this year? What would satisfy you? You know, what would make you feel like Evero should keep his job? Those are the two questions I got for y'all. The question ain't for me what's going on with the wide receiver room and who's going to be number one. I don't care about that. That'll sort itself out. What I'm more concerned about is Evero going to keep his job? You know? We could sit there and be like, oh yeah, well, every coach that we've ever had has hired favorites and blah, 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 you know, and I'm tired of hiring all these people that are friendly people, you know, in the management. I'm tired of that because that's what's gotten us where we are right now, you know, in the past 10 years. We need people that are going to get the job done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need I need a top 10 defense that will match this top 10 offensive line. You know, that's what I'm looking for. I don't know about y'all, but that's what I'm looking for. You know, by the end of year 3, that should be a top 10 defense and that should be a top 5 offense. If it ain't, we're doing something wrong. You know, this is a 3-year process. If we still need a little more tweaking, you know, for year 4, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But my whole thing is, you know, as long as we keep it stabilized and we keep re-signing the right people, we keep drafting the right people, you know, I'm down with it, bro. I'm down. I'm 100% down with what we're doing. And I love the Mitchell Evans pick, man. I love it. And the Trevor Etienne pick. excellent pickups management. You know, I had Trevor Etienne on all my mocks, you know, throughout the entire month. I'm very pleased with that. I heard there was a linebacker that we picked up, you know, undrafted. That has that kind of Troy Polamalu type hair. That dude hits like a truck, bro. I'm saying, I saw the short video on that, and I was like, God dang. Dude hits like a freight train. I'm like, what? Bruh. Yeah, we lost Kobe Bryant. We didn't get him, the corner from Kansas. But I'll take what we got, though. We got a thumper at linebacker, man. See, just because we didn't get our linebacker, see, what I learned last year was don't panic. Don't panic. Because when you go back in to undrafted free agents, look at what we got, man. We got a corner. We got a thumper for a linebacker. Dude's a coverage linebacker. We got a guard. I mean, like, this is a lesson for everybody. Don't panic. And I mean, during draft weekend, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be pissed off. You're going to say this or that, you know. You're going to beat your fist on the desk. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to happen. That's all I'm saying, man. Like, it's going to happen. But, like, once you... But yeah, don't panic if you don't get what you want right away in this 3-year process of drafting, because the undrafteds can sometimes be better than some of the stuff you'll get in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. I've seen it happen several times. You know, take Coker for example. Coker wasn't even supposed to be drafted, man. And we got him. So I said, alright, bet. This dude became an arguable number 1 wide receiver for us. I think there's several opportunities for us to succeed. Given what we have, given what we were able to get. And we just have to understand what to do with it. You know what I mean? That's the trick. Understand what you're doing with it. At some of these picks, like, what are we going to do with Princely? Princely's... I heard this dude is like a defensive end / linebacker. That's what I heard. And you know, my whole thing is, like, we took forever to draft a defensive tackle, but we got Cam, you know, down there, who we were targeting, by the way. So I said, okay, you know, as long as that's who we're targeting, I'm cool with it. You know, let's just make sure we get a defensive tackle. Because for a while I was like, the choices are limited, man. The choices are limited. You know, so, you know, after a certain point, you're going, are we sure we're actually targeting a defensive tackle in this draft? Are we sure? You know? I was like, ain't no way. Don't like my car shaking like that, man. Nah, I need it. The heck is up with this? Let me see what's going on with this. Why is it every time I try to do like a car stream, man, something goes on with my car, man? I think it's alright though. I'm gonna take a chance. What is this GPS doing, bro? God dang. Okay, now you want me to go back the other way? I'm gonna have to trim this live, y'all, so I can figure out what the heck my GPS is doing, man. I think it's drunk, y'all. I think my GPS is drunk. God dang. Don't matter anyway, because I think cars being weird right now. I don't like this. Yeah, I don't like that. I just have a feeling. Yeah, I have a feeling. I need to get this joker looked at. Something ain't right. Man, that's wild, man. Every time I try to do a car stream, something goes wrong with my car, man. Y'all some bad luck on my car, bro. Y'all some bad luck on my car stream. And it is what it is, you know. Car looked at again, man. Dang it. Not happy about that. It is what it is, man. It's life. You know what I mean? It's life. If it ain't one problem, it's another one. You know what I mean, y'all? Try to solve one problem, I end up with two more. That's how it goes. But you know what? I'm gonna keep pounding through it, though. That's the only thing I know how to do. Gotta get back to my house safely. That shouldn't be hard to do. I think my car's alright on streets, but like I don't want to test it on highway again, man. That joker was shaking like a leaf. I don't like that. I don't like that, bro. I'm gonna have somebody look at that crap. But yeah, though. There's a couple things that were on my mind today that I want to discuss with you about the drafting. I think that a lot more. Yeah, my gut is just telling me don't take that trip up there, man. I was gonna head up to North Carolina for a little bit, but nah. Not today. My car said, not today. You're staying your butt right here in South Carolina. What y'all think. I want to hear what y'all have to say. Alright. Appreciate y'all as always, man. Hit that like button, man. Keep pounding.